bolt your doors, lock your windows, turn off your lights, and come with me into the Weird Darkness. I'm Darren Marlar, host of Weird Darkness, where I share stories of the paranormal, supernatural, legends, lore, mysterious, macabre, unsolved, and unexplained. Recently named one of the best storytellers in podcasting for 2019 by Podcast Business Journal. Whether it's ghosts, cryptids, true crime, or creepypastas, you'll find it all in Weird Darkness. Episodes uploaded 7 days a week. Search for Weird Darkness in your favorite podcast app, or listen now at WeirdDarkness.com.
The Murderous Midwife. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
I love a good poisoning. I love a good murder mystery. I love when a killer uses poison. I love the toxicology. But today I want to talk about the angel makers of Nagyrév, who were a group of women led by this midwife, Julia Fazekas, who lived in Nagyrév, Hungary. And between 1914 and 1929, they dosed hundreds of people with arsenic, successfully poisoning to death around 300 people. It's incredible because they didn't get caught within this time, and they were also very famous for this. This town got famous for being a place where you may get poisoned.
You have to get pretty close to somebody to poison them too, which is it's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. But a lot of these people that were killed, as we'll talk about, intimately related to the people that killed them. And then all of those people form this kind of ring. It's very culty. Wait for it. Fazekas was a middle-aged housewife who arrived in Nagyrév in 1911. She had a husband, I guess, but he never showed up. He was missing. His name was Julius. So Fazekas, who was born Susanna, took his first name, like a woman's version of his first name, Julia. Anyway, he never showed up. Suspicious? Not at all. So that's where we're starting from, this midwife. But the town really didn't pay her much attention in the beginning. Around the turn of the century, the rural and very traditional Nagyrév was not a fun place to be someone's wife. If you were a teenage girl in Hungary, your parents would select a husband for you and you would be forced to accept their choice. Divorce was absolutely not an option within this culture, even if your husband was a total piece of shit. I mean, again, we're speaking very generally right now, and traditionally, which is kind of what Nagyrév ascribed to. It was encouraged that husbands were kind of pieces of shit sometimes, keeping their wives in line through any means necessary. Not a good scene. When World War I happened in 1914, most of the men from Nagyrév were drafted, which gave the wives this newfound freedom that they never probably had in their entire lives. They could do what they wanted. They were head of household. They controlled finances. They brought in finances. Again, they got to make decisions for themselves and their family that was pretty much unprecedented. Nagyrév is also in the Tidza Zug region. I'm sorry, I probably butchered that. But anyway, it was very rural, small village, and it was used at that point to house prisoners of war. So these prisoners of war, these young men, would come to Nagyrév, get to hang out with the villagers who were all at this point like young hot wives, and they were these like cool, in shape war men, soldiers, and they would hang out. And again, many of these married women developed affairs, boyfriends with these prisoners of war while their husbands were off fighting. So during World War I, the placement and ruralness of Nagyrév was, again, an ideal location for this. All of this started happening. The men were none the wiser out in the front lines until they wanted to come back, until the war was over. So they came back to Nagyrév and wanted things to be the exact way that they were. And they were not happy about their wives' affairs. They probably, again, this is a generalization, maybe came home with PTSD, which probably worsened along with, a young wife finding freedom and being in a different place and having different power. And
I'm assuming
decision-making.
having an affair with the enemy, right? If they're prisoners of war.
Yeah, totally.
Just like, hey,
Young, hot
so
enemy?
how was being a POW? He's like, pretty good.
Awesome. These,
yeah.
like, amazing young wives who just like would hang out and their husbands were all gone. It was great.
I wonder if it was the same way on the other side. If they got captured, it was like, no,
these fucking gross, like abusive husbands. They were like, no, thanks, not for us. Anyway, they came back and they were not happy about all of this extraneous sexual stuff happening while they were gone. And also, again, like not even just the sex stuff. I think it was also just these women being able to be in power and make decisions for themselves and kind of having to go back or their husbands trying to fit them back into this place. Not to make any excuses, because what we're about to say is the wives started killing the husbands. Not saying that that's acceptable, but I think getting the lay of the land with why this became such a thing in this town is pretty important. So the first mysterious death that happened in Nagyrév was a rival midwife. Fazekas became the lover to her rival midwife's brother. Then one day, this woman, this other midwife, just up and died. The woman's son, the rival midwife's son, was convinced that Fazekas was responsible. Unable to prove it, he attempted to shoot her, but he missed. The son received a long prison sentence for the attempted murder, so he's out of the way. She's got her rival competitor out of the way. We're good to go. So Fazekas, after all of this, and going home scot-free, had another idea. Together with her nurse, Susanna Ola, she began distributing arsenic to women who were having marital troubles. Arsenic was odorless and tasteless and could easily be put in food, drink, medicine, whatever. The poison was extracted from fly papers by boiling and sold at a price that varied according to the wealth of her clients. Sliding scale healthcare, circa 1915, very progressive. She would convince them, too, that you could not trace arsenic, which is absolutely untrue, but gave this sense of, oh, we can completely get away with this. It's no problem. It's easy. It's quick. And we can move on with our lives. Recognizing that unhappy wives were a big market in Nagyrév, Fazekas continued to encourage women to kill their husbands. Before long, the arsenic treatment wasn't just for bad husbands. Some of the women went on to poison parents who would become a burden to them or to get a hold of their inheritance. Others poisoned their lovers, some even their son. As the midwife allegedly told the poisoners, why put up with them? Easy. A woman named Marie Cardos murdered her husband, her lover, and her 23-year-old son. Just before he died, she got him to sing for her. Knowing he was poisoned, she listened to his voice until in the middle of the song he clutched his stomach and was soon dead. Giving testimony years later, she found the experience to be, quote, delightful. Maria Varga killed 7 members of her family, considering the death of her husband, in particular, to be a Christmas present to herself. Between 1914 and 1929, again, 300 people died from poisoning. We don't know exact numbers, really. They could be more, they could be less. Why? Unpunished, but definitely not unnoticed. Even though the unsolved deaths were pretty much ignored by the authorities, Nagyrév was dubbed by other people in the area as the murder district because tons of unexplained deaths was the only thing that the tiny village was known for. You can't deny that. That's pretty public. That's pretty public information. So murders keep happening, and Fazekas began developing this kind of cult-like status among her followers, I guess you could say, whose criminality bonded them to her and each other. And of course, authorities didn't want to deal with it, but then they kind of have to. There are a couple ways that the angel makers of Nagyrév may have been found out. We're going to find out those ways after this break.
Today's episode is sponsored by Best Fiends. I have to tell you about Best Fiends. It's the game everyone is talking about. I love it because it's the perfect break from true crime research, weird history research, UFO research. It still really challenges my brain because it's a puzzle game, and I love solving puzzles. But it's a casual game, so it doesn't stress me out, which is perfect these days. And lately I've been using it as a fun way to connect with my friends and family while still social distancing like me. I haven't seen my brother in a while, so I've been playing Best Fiends with him, and it's fun to casually compete with him since we can't do it in person. Best Fiends updates the game monthly with new levels and events, so it never gets old. Best Fiends does not require internet to play, so you don't need to worry about Wi-Fi access or using your cell data. When I need a break from editing, my go-to is Best Fiends. Engage your brain with fun puzzles and collect tons of cute characters. Trust me, with over 100 million downloads, this 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must-play. Download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Hi.
Checking in.
Checking in.
Are you okay?
Are you not okay? That's okay too.
Yeah.
Everything's okay. We're going on 4 months of quarantine here. So any answer you give us is an acceptable answer.
You know, why not both?
Both.
You can be both okay and not okay
Many
at the same
levels
time.
of truth.
Sometimes throughout the day,
Absolutely.
it's hour by hour. I'm in a different...
It's a roller coaster.
But we wanted to say thank you for listening, and people sent some nice Apple Podcast reviews, and a couple of bad ones there too.
Oh, you gotta, again, multiple
help us
levels
out?
of truth.
Rate and review 5 stars. It's
Yeah.
super helpful.
Very helpful, very important.
We have a new little website. It's not,
Yeah, we
if
do.
you're already listening, it's okay, but it's ghosttownpod.com. You can
Yeah.
check it out if you want to. And we'll have a new bonus episode, should be up by the time you're listening to this.
Whoa.
If I'm in
That's service.
If I'm in one of those okay or not okay moods, so it might be somewhere in the middle, but it should be up. And you can find that at patreon.com/ghosttownpod.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It's going to be very spooky. I'll just say that.
Thank you to all the patrons.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And who we got? We got Chris Witt. We got Brandon Gaddis. We got
Yeah.
Jeanette Link. We
That's
got
right.
Ben Forsyth.
That's right.
We got Lauren Pasick.
That's right.
And we're also working on some merch, I guess. Yeah, we've been kind of
We're in a merch search.
delineating. I don't know if that's a word, if I'm using it correctly.
If the pin just isn't enough, maybe some merch is for you.
If you have any ideas for t-shirt designs,
Yeah.
we don't want to do like logos or anything like that. We were actually looking at like almost like a mock-up of a death metal shirt.
Yeah. I think that sounds cool as hell.
But if you have any ideas or any samples of ones that you like, maybe you're a little more experienced in
Yeah.
the podcast merch
Totally.
scene,
We
let
want
us know.
free advice from you. Like what is the coolest piece of merch that you have ever seen or acquired?
Let us
We're
know
gonna do better.
so we could steal that idea and we could do better. Also, as a joke, we set up an OnlyFans,
That's
which
right.
is free. It isn't like
It's
the
a real
Patreon
serious
actually has
joke, though.
stuff on it. The OnlyFans is dumb, but it's also Ghost Town Pod, and
Yes.
it's free and it's stupid and it's
Oh,
not
baby.
it's not sexual.
It's not going to be sexual unless who knows what kind of dark place I'm gonna be in.
Yeah, because
maybe who wants to see a middle-aged woman's body?
Listen, I've been on the internet. A lot of people do,
All right, well, great.
but also middle age is 24.
oh boy,
so
who wants to see a dead woman's body?
that's 30.
Who wants to see the angel of death's body?
That's about 36.
Okay, we're gonna
that's a
go.
good age.
Thank you.
That's a good age.
No, that'll be fun. I mean, we're gonna put some stuff up. Do you
Check
want
it
to
out.
watch?
You want to waste more time?
Do you want to waste more time? I would. I don't know. Or we can just get back to some murder theories.
Let's do that.
Okay, so there's a lot of theories as to why the angel maker wives got eventually found out after, again, many, many years of just killing people left and right, back and forth, close and strangers.
Because a lot of people were dying, I'm assuming, with having the same symptoms
Yes.
and the same deaths. I mean, I'm sure there was different
Literally just
reactions.
Sure, like maybe like someone gets affected a little bit more than someone else or whatever, but like arsenic poisoning is pretty straightforward. It's like you eat something and you die almost immediately. Like not immediately, but like give yourself a 15-minute delay, 20-minute delay.
And I'm sure back in with the post World War One,
Yeah.
people were, dying from various things. I don't know what, the climate was in Hungary, which I've been to Hungary in the 90s.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. Nobody tried to poison me, I guess.
No?
Or nobody thought I was a prisoner of war and tried to.
No one tried to have sex with you or poison you? What did
neither.
you even do on this trip?
It's like they didn't even know I existed,
Ugh.
which is pretty standard.
That's awful. I hate that for you.
But I'm imagining that there was untimely deaths were not completely uncommon.
Yes. I just think that, like, it's like mostly they were husbands of people, mostly like dickish husbands of young wives, and then other people related to those young wives. So it was but then this power of the circle of people involved, like everyone was keeping each other secret. So there was actually like a very large support system around these murdering women, helmed by, this midwife, Fazekas, Julia Fazekas. Not her real name, her husband's name, womanized, and yeah.
He's not even in the picture, so.
He was never in the picture. We don't even really know if he exists. In fact, a lot of my research found, there's these stories, and again, we're not even sure how they got caught. So these are all theoretical, with probably the real answer being somewhere in the middle. So the first way that perhaps they were found out was that this woman named Mrs. Sasbo, one of the Angelmaker wives, was caught by two people who somehow managed to survive her poisoning. She then pointed to her accomplice, a certain Mrs. Buchanovsky, in order to reduce her own sentence, and that woman led her to Julia Fazekas. So once the circle breaks down, it really breaks down. It's also interesting, too, because this kind of insinuates that they were just giving people arsenic. Like, I don't know, is this going to work? Is this going to kill you or not? Not? Sorry. The second possibility is that there was a lull in the poisonings in 1929 after a medical student actually bothered to conduct an autopsy on a body that was washed up on the side of the riverbank. This event inspired officials to exhume two other bodies in the Nagyrév cemetery, and finding poison arrested suspects. So this medical student discovered traces of arsenic. The bodies, there were traces of arsenic in them. The police started finally investigating. Also, again, showing that these women pretty blindly believed that you just couldn't trace it. Like, they were kind of being fed this thing and got overconfident with all these killings when obviously it could be traced. The third is that someone sent an anonymous letter to the editor of the local newspaper. The murders were revealed in detail to the general public, and the authorities were pressed to investigate. I don't think this is probably the most realistic one, because if it's already like a murder town, like Murder Town, USA, I don't think like a piece in a local shitty tiny village paper is going to change that. There's another Mrs. Sasbo theory, that she got caught poisoning a man's wine. And a person who was close to the man who was poisoned witnessed it and then complained of the same thing. So under questioning, this woman implicated a friend who admitted that she poisoned her mother. She also outed everybody all in one thing. So then all of this, like whatever theory is right, Julia Fazekas was brought in for questioning and denied it, said that they could prove none of it. However, the authorities set a trap. They let her go after she was questioned, and she went from house to house of each of her clients, warning them each that the whole thing was over. So the police was just led to every woman who was involved, just systematically to just arrest them, which is a very all of it kind of reeks of simplicity in a way where it's like, of course you're going to get caught, but it's just too good. Like after all this, completely,
they got away with murder in a big way.
They got away with a big time murder.
Well, they got away with it up until, I guess, that point.
Yeah. So whatever happened brought swift justice after the Angelmakers were found out. The authorities ordered every married man who died since 1911 to be exhumed and examined from the cemetery. So at this point, they're digging up bodies in the cemetery. The women are freaking out. We don't know what's happening. There's arsenic in the air.
What about the hot POWs? They're just like...
they're just being hot.
Yeah.
They'll never stop being hot. I don't know if they're back home, if they're here. Who knows? Who would stay in this town? I have no idea. So 34 women and one man were arrested. Out of the 35 people detained, 26 women, including Julia Fazekas, were brought to trial. 8 of them received the death penalty, while 12 were sentenced to prison. One account says that Fazekas was one of the people hanged. Another describes her suicide by poisoning in her own home, surrounded by pots of boiled flypaper. Death by your own weapon. In fact, a suicide pact was rumored with the Angelmakers in case something like this happened. It didn't go down that way. But again, it's like the mythology of this ring being so strong and then it breaking down so quickly and so idiotically is interesting to me. Authorities, men, I would say, in power, considered why this happened. And they could not for the life of them, figure out why women would do this. So their explanation was that madness was brought on by rampant promiscuity. And that's it. The women just went insane because they were so horny and depraved while their husbands were at war. So again, a simple, idiotic answer to a bunch of pretty idiotic murders back around World War I. Arsenic.
Yeah.
Don't use it.
Yeah.
Don't kill people. How about just don't kill people?
I'm going to just, hold on, I'm going to have a bite of this muffin Rebecca made me.
Have the muffin! Eat the muffin, sing to me.